part number. I'm going to switch back and forth between the classic menu system that you see here on the left and the use of icons, as I've mentioned in other previous videos. The system is set up so you can use one or the other or both. I'm going to toggle back and forth between the two just to give you an idea of what the system looks like. So the first thing is I want to create a new item or a new part. Mentioned before on a previous video that we typically will show a screen with a lot of fields in it for a particular master file, and we do that just to give you an idea of some of the data that can be collected. This represents about half of the fields that are actually in our item master. Once we configure a system for a customer, we will identify those fields that are of interest and need in the system, and all the rest of them will be removed from the screen. So this could conceivably, for some types of business, have only 5 different fields in it. So I'm going to start with creating a new item. The first thing I want is a item number or part number. This can be alpha or numeric. We don't recommend, well, it will take it. We don't recommend that you use special characters for a lot of different reasons, but typically it is not a good practice. The new item that I'm going to put in will be a box of screws. So this will be the inventory item. I'll identify that it's a part. There's a lot of other fields I could fill in, but I won't do that. I can put in who the manufacturer is, who the supplier is, lead times, etc. Unit of measure, I'm going to put in each. I thought maybe I had boxes unit of measure, but I don't. So I will put in the description box of 100. So there's 100 screws per box. A couple of other items that I'll put in. There's a template, and this is just the kind of tag you want to put on the item. These could be RFID tags, or they could be barcode tags. It really doesn't matter. We just identify the different template that we're going to use to be associated with this particular item. If I wanted to put in details, I could enter that here. If I wanted to put in an image of what the box of screws looks like or how it comes to us, I could do that. I'm not going to do that at this point. I'll simply create the item. Now that I've created it, we'll go to talk about a receiving function from an inventory standpoint, and I want to create content records, which are tag records or labels for the number of boxes that come in. So what I said in this example, it's a box of screws with 100 of it, 100 per box, and what I'm going to create is tags for the box we receive, which we'll say has 24 boxes per container. Put in the receipt date, the day I receive this box of screws. If I want to pre-assign it to a location, I can do that, or I can scan it into a location at a later point. In this case, I'm just going to scan it into a location, and we'll say it's going to be south side of the warehouse. Quantity per box, we said there'd be 24 boxes per container, so I'll say there's 24 boxes of 100, and I received 6 boxes. So the total number of screws I've got would be 100 times 24 times 6. So just that fast it created the labels. And now in this case, so that we have something visual, I'm going to create the tags, and I chose barcode tags this time only because that's something I can show on the screen. If I had picked RFID, that's not something that I can show on the screen, even though I just created records that could support that. Got a little delay on the internet today. So here are your tags. It's for a box of 100. And there are 24 boxes. This is the date we received it. There's other information I could put in. But here's the tag associated with the serial number for this box of 24 cases or boxes of screws of 100. And we said we were going to do 6 of them, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So those are the tags that we associate with that inventory item. Once that's done, go back to my system, and we'll look at some of the different capabilities that the system has from an inventory standpoint. So here are some of the different capabilities. This first one, create contents. This is what I did on the menu, the classic menu side, but I could do exactly the same here. I won't go through all that, but you'll see it's basically that same functionality. So I'm going to go back to transaction, register, or menu. I can also do a move, and all that would be, I'll show you an example of that. I'm going to move one of those containers of screws to a different location. So I'll click on this, comes up, and what it wants me to do is scan in the tag. I'll go out to grab one of these tags, and I'll grab the serial number, simulating basically doing a scan. There's a window up here where I'll paste that information. So it comes up and it says, here's a serial number, part number is this, it's screws, a box of 100, and there are 24 of those boxes. Status is good. We could put things on QC hold, for example. Here's the date it was created, and then here is the location that we initially put those screws in. Now, if I did a scan of a location, or if I had RFID type scanner, I could pull from that to longitude and latitude. So in some way, I could scan a barcode that had the location on it. And what that would do then is create a move where this then would be moved from this location to some other physical location. Not going to complete that at this point. I'll leave it here. Just wanted to show the concept or the idea of what the system does. Occasionally you'll have boxes, partial boxes, and you'll want to combine them together. That's what this combine function does. So I can take two serial numbers with two partial boxes and do a combine. When I click on that, it's going to ask me what I want to combine into. I'm going to use that same serial number that I had a minute ago. It brings that up, and then I can scan one or multiple partial boxes. All of those then would be added to, the system will update the quantities, and they'll all be added to this tag number or serial number that I have in the system. And when I'm done, I scan the original one again to complete the combine. So basically it's taking remnants or partials and putting them together into a single container. And like I said, it could be two containers I put together, or it could be 10 containers that were partial if they were small enough. There's a split, which is just the opposite, where I can take a box and I want to split it into smaller containers. So in this case, I'll use that same item again. And this time it says, so I have a quantity of 24 boxes here. Let's say that what I want to do is I just want to create 2 splits. It says scan the barcode again of what you're splitting. And then it split it so that I had the original quantity, which is 8, split number 1 is 8, split number 2 is 8. So I've got a quantity now of 24 total, which is what I started with, but I have split that into 3 boxes. And then to actually accomplish that, I will scan the barcode again when I'm finished. So I'll do that. Okay, comes back and says that was successful. The original one now has a quantity of 8. Created a new tag number for the first split, has 8, and for the second split that was 8. I had the capability, I could have changed those, I didn't have to leave them all 8. I could have made 1 10 and 1 2, and then the difference or remainder would be in the original box. If I want to print labels now, or tags for those split, because I started with 1, now I have 3 containers or boxes. I can click on this and it'll automatically print the tag, whether it's a barcode tag or assigning an RFID tag. And then I can also, some of these might be put on QC update. Perhaps one of the reasons for doing a split is I wanted to sort through the boxes and split apart those that were not up to adequate quality, and so I can go in and do a quality update on this particular box, which was one of the splits, and it'll put it on QC hold, which will keep it from being used. Okay, let's go back to inventory again. Another is consume, and what consume does is just allows me to take any tag and empty it out. So I'll click on that. I'll use that original box again. Brings it up and it says it has a quantity of 8 in. This was the original one that I created. And if that's really what I want to consume, I'll click on that, and that emptied out that particular container. So again, from an inventory standpoint, there are a lot of different kinds of transactions that can be accomplished. I can update the quantity on a particular container. I can do a build. So for example, like might have a pallet, and on that pallet I want to build a bunch of different parts, put a bunch of different parts on, possibly for shipping. It's kind of what a build allows me to do, or I can go through and do a QC update. Let's try an update of the quantity. Don't know if it'll let me do it with that empty container that we just emptied out. Nope. Since that has been emptied, it's that tag is dead. But had I taken one of the, I can take a different one here. Let's take this particular tag. And we'll do a quantity update on this. This could be as a result of doing a physical count. So let's say that instead of 24, I found there were only 23 in there. And then I scan the box a second time. Okay, and now that box that started at 24 has 23. When I do this kind of transaction, it automatically puts transactions out in the database so that I can track these adjustments and variances that are done. This then allows me to print a new tag. The new tag would be with the adjusted quantity on it. So here's that box or that container, that tag, that started with 24 boxes of 100 screws, and it now has 20. And like I said, all the history is kept on that kind of a transaction. Then the last item here is if I wanted to do a QC update, click on that and scan in. I'll scan in the one that the tag that I just adjusted the quantity, change the quantity to QC hold, scan it again. Okay, and it now says the following is put on QC hold. From here I'm going to go into some of the different inquiries and reports that we have in the system. I'll go into inventory and I'm going to do a part search to start. Select a part and I'll select that part number for this box of screws. So here it shows me the boxes that I have. You see there's 2 boxes that have 8. The third 8 we consumed, so there's nothing there. We went in and made a quantity change it from 24 to 23. We also put it on quality hold. So if you look down here, it says you have 23 boxes of 100 screws that are on QC hold, which is right here, and you have 112 that are good. And they're all pardon me, located in this particular location. There's other kinds of reports that can be done. I'll do just one other one and then we'll end this particular presentation. So from inventory, one of the most common ones is checking inventory. I also below that have one where I can look at the inventory based on a FIFO basis, so I know which parts I should be using next from what location. In this case, I'll go in and we'll look at, I think it's under, oops, hit the wrong one, look at Michigan warehouses. And I think it was the south side. I could click up here and get all the inventory for all the locations. I'm just going to take this one location here and generate the report. So what I see now are different items that I have out there, including the boxes of screws, and it gives the individual tag numbers or serial numbers. I can summarize this by part location or just by part number. I can print it, or up at the upper left hand corner in the ribbon menu I can export all of this detail out to Excel. This concludes the overview of tracking of inventory. Thank you.